Hi guys, now that you're prepared for my voice, I promise I won't make you listen for a long time. But welcome to Missy's Imaginings. Yes, I'm sick. It's exciting. But I had a couple things. I did sew the little black dress that goes with the little blue jacket that we put together last time. So I wanted to get that posted for you guys so you can see how to sew that little dress. So we're going to go ahead and switch to that. But I had a couple things of news real quick before I switch out the camera and do the editing for that. I think I have a guest coming on my chair. Anyway, I was able to, I purchased a Miro doll, and I don't even know his name. It might be, I don't know, I'll have to look it up because I purchased him on eBay and I don't know what his name was. And but I really like him. I did a box opening for him, which I will probably add to the end of this video so you can see what that guy looks like. I was going to use the body for something else, and I'm not sure if I will now. But anyway, and then I also received this body from Miro Doll. It's their new tall, slender body, and I wanted it for the poncho, the Granado head. And I really, really like it. Excuse me. It's just got a real nice shape. It's not overly muscular because I wanted him to be more slender. However, I ordered the more pink tone, and I wasn't even thinking about it. I should have just got his head out and looked at it, but his head has more of a yellow tone, which gave me an excuse to buy another body because I can use this body for someone else when his actual body comes in. So anyway, he just looks handsome standing there, so I thought I'd let him stand there. And then I also will do a video on unboxing this body as well as how I wired this body. So I'll see how quickly I can get both of these videos done so that you'll have the sewing steps for the dress as well as how to wire a tall fella like this. The last bit of news is on Instagram. Some of you might have seen it. I purchased a industrial sewing machine, double needle. I'm so excited. And so I have my little industrial set here because I have a single needle machine, but I got the double needle. So I got new bobbins in, I got the needles in, and now I'm just waiting on the foot. It needed a replacement foot. So maybe when that comes in, I'll do a video on that, on getting that machine up and running, and take you on that journey as well. So since my voice is a disaster, and I'm gonna go back and snuggle on my bed with something warm and cozy wrapped around me, and I'll do some editing and get this out for you, and then I can stop talking, which I'm sure you will appreciate. So until next time, happy sewing. Bye. So now for the rest of the outfit. In the last video we put together the little jacket that has the lace on the sleeves and the lace in the back and the cute little beads holding the flaps of the lapels open. So that was done in our last video, so you can go back to that video to see how to put that together. But now we want to look at the leggings and the dress that go with the outfit. So the leggings are pretty basic. All you're going to do is sew the side seams together, and some patterns will actually, if you want, you can match up the actual seam line and just make one piece, but then you'll have, see how there's space between here, you'll have more gathering on the waistband. So I wanted these to have a little bit less gathering on the waistband, so I made this two pieces, because then as you sew it, that curve is going to come in. So you sew the side seams together. Once those are done, then you're going to, with right sides together, you're going to sew the inseam of what you have. Then you just take each leg and take one leg, turn it right side out and put it inside the other leg, and then you'll sew the crotch seam. It'll be like this, so you just sew that together. Then you take it all out so it's all right side out, and turn under your waistband and put the elastic in. Oh, and also I should say, once you get these pieces together, I always hem it because it's nearly impossible to put that hem in after the legs are put together. But anyway, it's just a basic legging pattern, and it ends up like this. So this is what it looks like when it's done. So it's not skin tight, which was nice because this is not a stretch lace. It's just a regular lace, so I was glad I had a little room to get it over her bum and her hips. And then, yeah, then it fits. So anyway, that's what the little lace leggings will look like. So now we move on to the dress pieces. The first prep sewing that will be done will be putting the darts in the front facing and the actual bodice, as well as the back facing pieces and the back pieces of the bodice. So we'll be putting the darts in. Then these are going to be the little straps that will attach, here we go, to the shoulders. But first, these, and I'm going to experiment here, you can use a ribbon if you'd like, but I thought it'd be fun if they could just match the ultra leather. So I want to fold, let's see here if I can make it work, fold over one side and then the other side, and then I want to sew that down so that I just end up with little leather strips like this, and I want 2 of them on each shoulder, and so those will come, and then once those strips are in place, I'll either use this little leather heart or I might get a button of some sort. But anyway, those strips are going to come to the back and they're going to crisscross like so and attach to the back of the dress with snaps. So that's what the bodice will look like. Then for the skirt of the dress, I have like a crushed, I don't know if it's crushed velvet or a fake suede velour. Anyway, it's got some nice texture to it. So that's going to be the skirt. But underneath the skirt, I wanted a little more puff. So I cut out a bunch of layers of tulle. I extended them beyond the pattern so that there's just a lot of puff under there. So I'm going to gather those layers and sew them underneath the skirt. So that's what I wanted to do just because I want them there. I will put the skirt together and see just how much puff it gives me. So if I kind of gather it, it's going to kind of look like that. But anyway, so that's what we're going to try to put together this dress. So first off, I'm going to try my hand at sewing the little straps together, making sure they're little tiny straps, and putting the darts in. Then I will go ahead and attach the sides of the facing to the front facing and the sides of the bodice to the main bodice, and then I'll come back to the camera. Well, I tried one of these little things and that was almost a nightmare. I couldn't get it to look the way I wanted, so I got a longer, wider piece which will allow me all the lengths that I need, and I'm going to go ahead and fold it over once and then fold it over again, but sew while it's still attached here, and then after I get it sewn all the way down, I will simply cut off the excess, but that way it gives something for the feed dogs to grab so it will feed through the machine, because the other way just was not wanting to work in a way that would look nice the way I wanted it to. So this is what I'm going to try, and I think it will work much better. So I will do that and get those done and then move on to the other pieces. Here is the bodice with the darts in place and the sides added. I also was able to use that little trick to get my little strips done, and it worked really well. So I've attached 2 to each shoulder, so they'll look like this, and then they can come apart if they want. So that's what the straps look like. And then the facing also is all put together. So it has the darts in place and the sides. Now what I'm going to do, being very, very careful to make sure that the straps don't get sewn into the side seams, is I'm going to put right sides together and sew the facing
to the actual fabric of the bodice. So I'm going to do that around the edge. And I'm not quite sure, I think I'm not going to sew the side seam yet because I still need to attach the skirt. Let's see. So I'm not quite sure how I want to attach and finish that, so I'll probably leave that side center back seam open and just do from here that'll go across the back and under the arm. So that's the part I'll put together, and I'm going to leave this part open for now. So anyway, I'm going to put that together. Then I'm going to sew the front seam together on the skirt, and then the front seam together on all the sets of tulle, and I'm going to gather those and sew them inside the skirt. Instead of sewing it to the right side, they'll be sewn on the wrong side, and get that all ready and gathered, because once it's gathered, that's going to be sewn to this bottom edge of the bodice. So I'm going to get those all put together, sew them to the bottom edge, and yeah, then I'll come back to the camera. So on the tulle, I have my 3 pieces. I connected the center front, and I've done a basting stitch along the top. And before I gather this, I just wanted to add just a fun little touch for my ruffling underneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half, and then fold it in half again, keeping the hemline together because it has a drop front, so you don't match that. And then I'll fold it, probably, if I can get these all lined up here. There we go. And then in a third, and one more third. And it's just kind of rough. And then on the one that has the actual seams for the front, I'm going to leave that the longest. And I'm going to take my scissors and come here and just make a scallop like this. And because tulle, I don't want to hem it, it doesn't ravel, but it can look kind of messy when it's just sticking out. So it's fun to add just a little bit of a scallop to it. There we go. So it just makes it look like the hem was planned a little bit more. And so there we go. So that's going to be the poof. Now I'm going to go ahead and gather this. And I always use the side that has the bobbin, but it's hard to tell with just this black. So I'm going to gather this. I have the skirt. Let's grab my arm out of the way here. The skirt is all gathered. So I will go ahead and match this up to the bodice, and then put the tulle, gather it and put it on and attach it to the bodice. But I just wanted to show that little step you can do with tulle just to make the hem a little bit more fun. This will be really hard to see because it's black and it's getting dark, but I'm going to tell you how I'm going to attach the skirt to the bodice. So I have the gathered edge, I have right sides of the skirt to the right side of the bodice, and then I have the right side of the tulle facing towards the skirt. I've pinned just in a few places along the top edge, being careful to stay within that 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then at the very edge, let's see if I can get my hand under here, I'm turning back the seam allowance on the side of the skirt and tulle so that this is a nice finished edge, and then there's a little overlap here of the actual bodice. So I'm going to sew across here, but then I will go ahead and close that edge of the lining or the facing of the bodice to sew down to right there where that skirt comes. So this is going to be seam allowance that's left to sew to the edge of the facing of the bodice. That's why I'm not taking the skirt all the way to the edge of the bodice fabric. I'm leaving it with a seam allowance, a little bit more than a seam allowance, so I have room to bring that facing down and be sure that I don't hit the skirt, because then when that turns right side in, then my skirt edge and my edge of my bodice are going to be a nice finished even edge. So that's how I'm going to attach that. And then I will take all these darts and they will be, I will lay them towards the back and away from the center front. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do to attach the skirt. And then once the skirt is attached, I'm just going to sew the tulle to the tulle and the skirt to the skirt. I'm going to leave open about 1.5 inches from the waist so that I have room for the doll's hips to go in through that waistline, maybe even 1 3/4 inch. So I'm not going to sew the skirt all the way up. I'm only going to sew it up part way so that that opening will have enough room. And then of course that will be folded, and so it'll be nice and finished and it'll look pretty. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do next now that I have this all pinned together. So here's the dress all finished, and it has the faux leather for the upper bodice. It did end up being a little big on this doll, just because she has a smaller waist, a little bit smaller bust, and then larger hips. But it does look really good on the Ellowyne. Here's the back, so you can kind of see how those straps look with the little hearts. There we go. So that all turned out well. And yeah, and then a little bit of the tulle kind of peeking out from the hemline down there. So I like that. That's kind of how I wanted that to look. And then her little lace leggings underneath. So we'll go ahead, and I made her a little necklace that matches the beads and some other beads that are on the jacket. So we'll go ahead and get her put together and see how the outfit looks when it's all finished. And here she is, all finished. So she has the leggings, the little dress, and the jacket. There we go. And let's see, we'll go ahead and move her hair. So there we go. So have fun sewing, enjoy the pattern, and if you're making it for Ellowyne, it should be perfect. If you are going to do it for an MSD, BJD, you might want to go ahead and take these darts in a little bit deeper, or at least lengthen it and add a little bit more flare for their hips. But the bust had plenty of room, and that could even be reduced a little bit with deeper darts in the top. And the neckline is fairly high, so if you want to lower that neckline, then you're more than welcome to make those adjustments. But this is how it turns out. And here is the outfit on the Tonner Wild Imagination Ellowyne, just so you can see how it fits this doll. The pattern actually fits her a little bit better, so that way you just know what it looks like. Happy sewing! Here is my floating head. There we go. Let's see if I can make sure it shows. Let's come up closer. There we go. The lighting isn't the best in here, but this little guy needs a body, so I found one. I'm always on the lookout for a good inexpensive body, and I found this fella on eBay, And then the seller was taking offers, so I made an offer and the offer was accepted. So here we go. So if you are the seller, thank you very much, because I'm excited to have a body here. I didn't particularly buy this for the head, but rather so I'll have a body for this. And it is a Miro doll body, which a lot of people maybe don't particularly like, but hopefully I won't scratch up my box. I don't mind because it's going to be covered with clothing, you know. There we go. So here's our box. Let's flip it around this way. Oh, some tape. Uh-oh. Hopefully this won't ruin the box. There we go. All right, and so this is the 60 centimeter more youthful body type. And what do we have in here? We've got some more things in here. So it looks like here we've got a couple feet. Okay, so some good sized feet. Let's see, this one, is it missing a hook? It might be, unless I dropped it. No. Well, I don't see a hook in here. Well, there's a hook in this foot. Oh, it's the same foot. Okay, that's not a good sign. Unless they're extra. I don't mind an extra foot, but... Oh, I found the other hook. There it is. Okay. Oh, looks like we've got feet on the fella. Okay, that's good. So, it is a fella, and he's going to be naked. So, prepare yourself if you don't like dolly nudity, because he will be nude. Alright, so... take the bag off. Oh, the alarm was caught on there. Alright, so let's start here by unwrapping his face. So he came with a face up, which, oh, he's alright. So instead, I'll be having this guy. It looks like the body is going to be a little bit more yellow than the head, but it's okay. Like I say, it's going to be under clothing quite a bit. I think this head is just too big for this body. I think that's what the issue is. The neck looks like it's too big, so it's sitting too far down. Okay. I'm going to take off the bubble wrap pants. Here we go. So he looks like he's in pretty good shape. Let's see here. So this is interesting. I don't think I've ever seen these on a piece before. And there we go. And let's see, it looks like the elbows are single jointed, but no worries, I'm gonna go ahead and wire him anyway. And he has a 3-part torso. Yeah, these little holes here are interesting. So I'm not sure if this is the actual Miro doll line or if it's that other specialty kind of line they carry, but I do know the hands are nicer than the average Miro doll hands. But I will say this one looks bigger than the other. Maybe it's because the fingers are bent. But the general shape is good. Let's see, we've got single jointed knees. There. And ankles look fairly good. So yeah, the extra feet is interesting. So now, let's see. Let's go ahead and try changing on his head. But let's see here. And it looks like it's just a ring, so it's not an S hook. So we'll go ahead and let's see if we can give this a pull and a twist. There we go. Easy enough. And let's try comparing. Yeah, see how much bigger this guy is? The opening is so much bigger, so I think that's why he sat down so far on the neck. This guy's more pink, but I think it'll be alright. So now, yeah, the body is much more yellow. But like I say, easy. Let's see. Pull the hook up and give it a twist. There we go. And I think, let's see. I think his head's going to be too small. So I like my face better than this face. I like this guy, but so I'll probably have to do something to lift that up off the neck. It might be that this just has a short neck. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But I am going to be able to make use of this body, because once he's clothed, then it's just a matter of having the neck up on top. So I may take some vinyl and make some discs, create a pad to lift this head up on the neck more so that it would be up higher, and I think that would help immensely, because the way it is now, he's got a very, very short neck, but once he has some hair on to give some volume to his head, I think he might be okay. So all in all, I am happy with the purchase. So, and it feels pretty sturdy. It's like a pretty sturdy hunk of resin. So yeah, and in very nice shape. No dings or bumps or anything like that. So yes, all in all, happy with purchase. Still going to experiment on his head. So I have some little vinyl circles, and I am cutting a slit and a hole in each one. I'll put them up there. Maybe they'll be able to be seen a little bit better. So there's one. So I'm just going to cut into the middle and then cut a small hole. There we go. And maybe I'll do like 4 of them. 4 layers. Let's try, there we go. 3, 4. I have lots of these little circles. So let's see. And we'll see if this gives enough lift. So what I'm going to do is make sure all the, I'll turn them the same way, just for ease of application. There we go. Looks like one's a little smaller, or two are a little smaller than the rest. So there we go. So there's the slit. So now I'm going to lift this up through the head and hopefully put this underneath the head, just kind of for a wedge to lift that up off the neck. And I did find that once he had some eyes, his face wasn't so bad. So I don't know. We'll think. I may have been a little hasty and not really liking his face, because I think once he gets eyes in, he might be okay. Okay, so my daughter Maddie's here, so she's gonna help. So these are all split like this. So when I pull his head up, I just need you to slide this around the strings, like from that angle. and put all of these around the string. Okay, so there's those. And I'm just going to pull his head up like that. Get him around. There we go. Oh, much better. Much better. There we go. That holds his head up. So there you go. Missy is the queen of cheating in the doll world and finding ways to make something work that really didn't work to begin with. So I just used some vinyl and essentially shimmed that up. Salem. No, no. He says, let me go. So there we go. So let's put some eyeballs in this guy so you can take a look at his face. Stop! Children. Children. So let's see. I have several different colors. Just the standard brown eye. That's kind of boring. I'll have to show y'all in the daytime. So the blue ones I kind of like. I'll make him really cross-eyed. Not intentionally, but there we go. Yeah. So with some eyeballs in, he's not that bad. So yeah. And especially getting his head up off. Oh, there he looked really cross-eyed again. Lifting his head up so that it wasn't sunk down on his neck made a huge difference. So there we go. I also have an Abobi Apollo head because the Abobi Apollo body is being used for somebody else. So that might also be another option. But now that he has his neck or his head lifted up, yeah, much better. Oh, I like that, much better. So it's not shrunk down on his neck. So there we go. So we've made an improvement. There you go. And there's a quick little way that you can cheat. This vinyl that I have is a thick Dauphine vinyl. And like I say, they're just little circles. And I used four. So the thickness of that adds up really fast. And it's real soft cloth on one side and then vinyl on the other, which kind of gives a little bit of friction so that it kind of wedges his head position wise where he can hold the position a little bit better, and yet it's soft and it won't hurt the vinyl. So there we go. All right, so I'll be back again later. Bye.